So to start with, we can talk about what's sometimes called a numeric code. Basically, you write the message down in English to replace each letter with a number. We could start with 1, in which case we would replace A with 0, 1, B with 0, 2, and all the way up to Z replaced with 26. Now, I feel like this is pretty straightforward, but I want to give an example of how exactly this looks because it illustrates a concept that we'll need later, which is the lookup table. When you're encoding by a lookup table, you have a table that lists correspondences between the symbols in the original message and what they should be replaced with, and you just go through and we will look up each symbol in the original message and replace it with the appropriate entry in the lookup table. So I have decided that I want to encrypt the message hello world using a lookup table for the numeric starting with 0, 1 method. So I can make a table here for my message, and I'm going to look on my lookup table and I see that H corresponds to 8. So I go and I replace the H with a 0, 8. Then I look at the next letter, which is E. That corresponds to 0, 5, so I replace E with 0, 5. I go through L, and it's replaced by 12, and I'll go ahead and replace all of the L's at once. And then you see the idea. What the encoded message is. Another thing that we could do is start with 0 instead of 1. So it's sort of an interesting controversy in the mathematical community. Should you start counting with 0 or with 1? And this is a cultural thing. So during the Cold War, the mathematicians in Russia and Eastern Europe were separated from the mathematicians in the United States and Western Europe. People who were raised in Russia and Eastern Europe tend to say that you should start counting with 0. And mathematicians who were trained in the United States or in Western Europe, like the UK or France, tend to say that you should start counting with 1. So because many mathematicians start counting with 0, most mathematicians who do cryptography nowadays, they were going to use this method. They would replace A with 0 instead of 1, and they would replace B with 1 instead of 2. And so you can imagine what the lookup table would look like. It looks exactly like the last lookup table we saw. It's just that A will start with 0. And so basically each entry in our new lookup table, the number will just be 1 less than the entry in the lookup table we looked at before. As an exercise to see that you've done it correctly, if you encode high Earth using this method, you should get 0708 040011 1207. Obviously, there are many other methods that you can use to encode a message, and if you have any that you like already, I'd love to hear about it. But notice that the lookup tables that we've looked at so far give an algorithm. It's a simple step-by-step process that anyone could follow encode a message.